Super Kicking It with Steven Fans, your favorite host right here, Stephen A. 1181. We got Greg on the way. We are live at a special time today at 11 a.m. Kick off kind of your holiday week. Hopefully, happy Festivus, happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, happy Kwanzaa, whatever else, Merry Christmas, all that good stuff. Any holiday, whatever you celebrate. Hopefully, you're having a great week. And man, we are in for a treat today as we recap AEW. That's right. We're going to recap AEW in the year that was. Give out our Stevie Awards. So it's a special edition today of the Stevie Awards. We got Greg right there. Let's bring him on once he gets his camera all settled in and ready to go. We have a few things to talk up about the weekend that was with football happening last night, yesterday. I think 4 games yesterday. We have basketball going on. This is just a great sports weekend. And then we'll get right into our Stevie Awards. So let's bring him on, the one, the only, the one. Greg won there, rocking his powder blue Chargers jersey. There we go. Rivers, 17, right?
Yes, sir. 17.
I should know that since he played here a season.
Right.
We will not talk
it was a good 1-year rental for you guys.
He was, yes. We've had a few of those, that if you haven't noticed. So,
I wanted to ask you how you doing today, bro. I mean, I know yesterday was brutal.
Oh my God.
You okay? You need me to send somebody to the house?
I just laughed. We had a holiday party, and we're watching it, and we're just like, we were all rooting for the tie, actually, because the record for ties is 2. So we still got 3 games, Greg, to have another historical asterisk to our impressive 4-9-1 record. But yeah, man. And what's funny is I was listening to the game like on the radio, and I was just like, man. And even I joked, I'm like, I don't even feel comfortable with the 33-point lead. That's how bad this. And like, I guess it's really crazy to think we're like the 6th or 7th worst record. So I can't imagine what, I think, what was it? Houston is up there. Denver's, or not Denver. Who's up there? There's worse teams than us. But yeah, I don't know how we're not power ranked 35th tomorrow, Greg, or whatever, 36th, 37th, 38, we're not even ranked. Like, don't even put us, because that was. And I guess the overwhelming, or the biggest thing was, so the biggest comeback was by Frank Wright, who used to coach the Colts. So
Right.
He's probably just rolling in his, little nice house somewhere, wherever he's at now, and just thinking, well, I'm off the schneid now. So,
Man, I was thinking about you because I got to work, and for one, I forgot there was football on Saturday.
yeah,
And
4 games last night, or 4, or
right?
3 or 4,
3
I think it was
3 games
3
until
games. Okay.
My ESPN fantasy alert start
Blowing
dinging
up.
that Jonathan
Yeah.
Taylor's in the end zone or
Yeah.
in the red zone.
Yeah.
Like, what? And oh yeah, there's 3 games today. And
Then
I look at the
he was
score.
gone after that, so don't worry.
And I look, you're up 33-0. When I looked, I was like, wow, okay, they've showed up to play today. And then I go out to work a flight. At work and took a peek at it. Go out, work a flight, come back, and I see in the group chat the guys are saying that Jeff Saturday should be fired immediately. They're like, what? I thought they're being sarcastic.
Make everyone ride the bus. Don't even give them a flight home, Greg. Get them a Greyhound bus and get home. But
yeah. They go from 33-0 to 36 or tied at 36. Like, how is that happening? In a half?
In a half, yeah. Well, of course, the Cowboys put up 30-some points on us in the 4th quarter 2 weeks ago, or 3, whatever that was. So, I mean, at this point, we're just like, and then, like I said, a couple of my friends were like, we're just rooting for the loss because going to get you drafty hires. But me and another friend were like, no, we want the tie. We got to get that. Might as well get the second tie and, break the record of one. But yeah, so maybe, we're even thinking, so we play Houston the last game, Greg. I hope to God we tie them. Because wouldn't that just be a full circle? You tie them at the beginning of the year and you tie them at the end. And I hope it's 0-0. Not even gonna lie. I
Oh,
don't want any scores. I want Pat McAfee out of retirement, back there behind center or something like that. I was thinking about him too. I was like, man, I wonder if he's just calling up Ursay back. Is there anything I can do? Because he really loves the Colts. I mean, he's not he's not busy enough already, Greg. But anyways, so
Yeah, right.
But let's
And
get to the. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. You finish up, and then we'll get to the matter at hand.
no, I was just thinking. Then your quarterback is now infamous for being part of the two biggest collapses in NFL history.
How could
You know,
he
you
even show up tomorrow?
set the record for 33-point defeat, and then the Super Bowl.
Why is he should he and just I mean it's not, I don't and I guess I didn't see him enough last year, but I'm like, was there why there's this big of drop off like from last year to this year for him? So um yeah. I don't know how he's not holding a press conference today saying, hey, I'm done. See ya. Peace out. Don't even like peace out, just like not show up. But But Greg, let's get to the matter at hand. We are at our AEW recap show, our year-end awards, my famous Stevie Awards, as it goes. We all do our WWE show when we decide the date, either December 30th or December 31st. We'll kind of see how that day is. My mom's birthday is on New Year's Eve, so I'll have to kind of play it by ear to see schedule around that. So it might be better to do the 30th, which I think is Friday. So and we could probably just go live whenever, since I am off for those days. So, but how in the world do we recap AEW? Greg, my
Ah,
brain just kept going. Like a lot of talent. I think we could say that. A lot of good talent. A lot of good ring work. A lot of good storytelling. But, and I always hate the but because it just feels like the shoe drops off. Lots of drama. And
yeah.
I think this year that kind of outweighed the good that was happening. Is that how you kind of would put it? Or how do you think you would kind of tie a bow around AEW's year this year, Greg?
No, I totally agree. And there was a lot of confusion. There was a lot of disjointed storytelling, and some of it wasn't their fault. There were a lot of
Yeah.
injuries.
Yep.
Um, I'm sure a lot of guys that they had big things planned for fell apart because of injuries. I mean, biggest example, Adam Cole.
Yeah.
How huge would Adam Cole would have been if he stayed healthy all year? And that bums me out when I watch because I think about him. Of course, every time you see Britt Baker, but all the stuff that they were working on with um, the impending Bullet Club reformation and putting up against the elites and um, the New Japan guys and tying those knots or things all together. So much potential was right there, storyline wise, big and juicy, and didn't get to do that because all these guys got injured or suspended or both, and that's just one thing. And then all these guys, Punk getting injured, and of course the All Out mess ruined the whole storyline for the summer and the things they could have built, MJF and everything he did. So it was a lot of incompletes to things that they were building, and we never got to saw what would have happened and what would have could have been like the biggest stories, the biggest matches of the year, and we missed out on all that stuff. So yeah, it was a huge mess. And props to them for shifting on the fly and adjusting and filling in characters and keeping the ball rolling. But you sit back looking at the year and going, what could have
What
been
could have
if,
been?
yeah. So
Still
I
some,
totally
and
agree.
I feels like that I don't that I hate to say magic to it, but it doesn't feel like almost like NXT Black and Gold, where AEW, you know, post COVID, pre COVID, all that. It's kind of missing that, doesn't it? It feels like it's missing that little extra bit of spark that we've seen so much, and a lot of start and stop. I think could be said.
Hmm.
And the I hate saying the WWE esque of it, but it almost feels like WWE before last year or years had passed, where just a lot of start stop for guys. Like you said, yes, Tony Khan probably is feeling like Vince McMahon a little bit because he's trying to wait, put all of this on his shoulders, which can be good because that's one voice, but also, Greg, it's probably bad because that's one voice. Not saying you
Yeah.
need, we always say yes, too many cooks in the kitchen, but you need a sous chef, you need a waiter, you need a you need a host. I mean, you need a few extra voices, just kind of talking you off ledges and doing that type of stuff. So I'll be interested to see next year. Can they get can Revolution 23 kind of build it up. And Double or Nothing is one of their big ones. And then kind of circling back to All Out 2023, Greg, like, can they get that spark back? Get those guys and girls, because the women probably had a stronger year than we think. Still some improvements to be made there, but tag team wrestling was on the rise.
Hmm.
Obviously, I think they're still a little bit ahead in WWE when it comes to tag team wrestling. But just some of that backstage stuff, I think, just leaves that's always at the forefront, unfortunately. So, should we get right into the awards, or you have anything else you want to add on as like a recap to the year that was for AEW, Greg?
No, I agree. I think pretty much, encapsulated it. So let's hand out some awards,
Let's
some
get
hardware.
these Stevie Awards tool time, and let's just get right into it. What does AEW need to improve? I think I kind of mentioned it. I think I think Moxley being signed as a mentor, I think they called it, and a coach esque like that 5 year deal. I think it was 5 year deal is huge for them. I think he might be that good middleman, between the wrestlers and management. So I think that's a huge thing, and maybe giving him more voice. You know what else, Greg? And I was reading online about Brian Danielson. I think he needs to be a little more selfish. That's probably hard for him to do, Greg, for Brian Danielson, but maybe being in that Moxley role as well, kind of a middle ground between management and the wrestlers. I don't think he necessarily wants to do that, but I almost feel like it's needed. And then I also
Mhm.
look at putting the women in a little more stronger sense. Maybe doing a few more main event spots for them, or at least giving them that time. So those are kind of my three, two or three things I was looking at right now. I'll let you go, and then maybe I can build off of that as well. So, what do you think, Greg? What are some things that AEW needs to do to improve?
Well, first thing, I think they need to trim the fat.
Yeah,
We mentioned a second ago that they have way too many people, and I, you know, good on you, Tony Khan, for keeping so many wrestlers in business and getting paid, but your show is suffering because of it. Just trying to showcase all these people, and it's be better to, you know, trim the fat, let them go work the indies, work on their craft, and come back when they're stronger and more sure of themselves instead of you know cutting their teeth on company time and wasting away on Dark and Elevation. And speaking of Dark and Elevation, I think we need to get rid of Dark and Elevation because nobody watches it. And I think that a more practical use for that time is if you're really going to make ROH a focal point, you put it in that spot for that you use for Dark. Take the time and make it a 2 hour show and make it ROH, just specifically ROH. So if you're going to take some of those Dark and Elevation people and funnel it into ROH, do it. But you need to make a standalone show for ROH if you're really serious about building it up and making it its own commodity, the way NXT is in WWE.
Yeah.
So, no more dark, no more elevation. Make it ROH and put the star power in there. Make uh, the presentation, the rules, ROH specific,
Yeah.
the way you like to do, and then we get everybody comfortable with it. We get the fans used to it instead of just doing two um, pay-per-views a year
Yeah.
and expecting us to be good with it. If you're going to do it, go in all the way and do it, and get rid of the whole dark and dark elevation because nobody watches it anyway. And
Yeah, you have to
you know, the,
wonder if ROH will get its own. I think it needs its own flavor next year. I thought Final Battle is a good example where like you said, they have the code of conduct. The Pure title had its own kind of rules and regulations.
yeah,
So I am curious what, if from the sounds of it, there will be an ROH time, but then I think like you said, Greg, it's got to be separate. Just like we harp on it. Yes, NXT its own. Like I would love a little more crossover between NXT and WWE. The main roster, which are doing New Day, but at, with ROH, I think at first you need to keep it separate so that it can build its own little niche, and then you can filter in. Because right now, doesn't it feel like ROH is more prevalent on AEW, Dynamite, and Rampage?
yeah, it is. And
Which I
if you,
understand because we got to get it to the casual fans. The like us watching. Like I don't know much about ROH other than guys that've gone through there. I haven't gone back to watch stuff. Past stuff. But uh, anyway, so
yeah, if you're gonna get us used to the brand and get used to the rules, the look of the titles, things like that, putting it on the big stage on Dynamite is the great way to go. But at some point, you got to figure this is the time and put it on, its own time slot, its own um, station, and let it fly or fail as
yeah.
it is, because it's taken away from time that could be devoted elsewhere on Dynamite.
What about the titles? Is there? I was reading. There's 14 titles between ROH and AEW. That's too damn many, right?
It is too many for sure. I get it. You need equal amount of men's and women's opportunities,
Yeah.
but it really needs to be streamlined. You have your main title, your world title, your tag titles. Nobody's doing trios titles. In mainstream America, so that's we'll let that go, but not like we need women's trios
Yeah.
titles. And then you have the TV, and you have this, that, and the other. It is way too
All
many
Atlantic.
titles. So
The
yeah,
All Atlantic sounded like a good idea at first, but then when you introduce the trios titles, now you got 3 belts there, and now granted, we can go back, Greg. The trios titles probably would have been on a different course had the all out brawl doesn't happen. So we
right,
don't know what that was going to. We don't know ultimately. I still think the Young Bucks get it back with Kenny Omega just because of the LA show, but um, yeah, I'm very curious to see what that would have. But then again, that goes back to our recap. I think you're best suited with our bow would be what could have been. I think for AW this year is really the
yep,
biggest thing. And I think I like your idea. Yes, ROH should look different. That's we'll get on the other side of things. Like that should happen on WWE TV as well. Present Raw, present SmackDown differently to give it those feels. But when we get to that side of things in a couple weeks, we'll get into that. But I do think ROH, the final. I watched Final Battle, Greg, and I thought it did a great job of looking differently and giving you different announcers. Like, don't give us, Tony Schiavone and don't give us, Excalibur. Like, give them their own announcers, give them their
yep,
own feels. So I think next year's huge to see what ROH will be with some real momentum behind it. Anything
Yeah.
else, Craig, improvement wise, you want to throw out there?
Uh, uh, if we don't get to do it, I got to shout out Final Battle because holy crap, that was probably one of my favorite pay-per-views of the
Yeah.
year. Um, they had 8 matches. I would have given 4 of them solid 5 stars, and then I would have given Mercedes and Athena another 4.5. So top to bottom, it was just banger after banger after banger to steal from Sheamus. And props to everybody. It was so good. And yeah, and we need more of them boys because the Briscoe brothers are everything I didn't know I needed in my life. Those guys are killers. That match against FTR, I wanted that to make my match of the year, but I didn't want to, recency bias and all that. But holy crap, that was probably the best tag match of the year. Um, shout out to them. But we need the Briscoes on a regular basis and get them over here. I know they're indie darlings and all that, but they can do everything they do there on the big stage. We need them here in AEW, killing it against the elites, against the Lucha Bros. Just the field is so wide open for them. And they've already started off at the top with these 3 classics against FTR, you know, and they're only just getting started. So Tony Khan, if you're going to sign somebody, make sure them boys are signed to AEW
Yeah, I
and
don't
get
know
them
what
more airtime.
there's some. I guess people keep going with there's some sort of I don't know what's there's some reason why they're not on national TV, and I need to read up on that. But I've seen that's the rumblings on why they're not on TV as much. I don't know if it's the real life stuff of them, Greg, or what, but I think we need to do a little more research on that, or our research
Yeah,
department needs to get in my ear and let me know. But I think that's why. But like you said, I mean, if you're going to have them as the ROH champion or tag team champions, Greg, they're going to have to be a major focal point of that show. So,
right. And I think
um,
that's a good thing that they've done that because now that means you're going to have to give them some airtime. And so
yeah,
hopefully, whatever's going on backstage, behind the scenes, or
yeah,
contractually is getting worked out.
because
So,
yeah, like I said, I don't know if there's like we always tweets came out or something like that, but I think there was some sort of reason that was holding them back from that, and hopefully that can get settled and kind of put to the wayside. How about the next one? Who broke out this year, Greg? Who do you think was a breakout star for you or
breakout
stars?
star, I'm going to give it to Daniel Garcia.
Okay, yeah,
Compared to um, 21, where he came in with 2.0, and they were just kind of the little hoodlums,
yeah,
sneak attacks, backstage, and they're on TV for 30 seconds at a time.
hmm
We got the little sample of them, but they didn't have a place for them.
yeah,
And this year, put him into JS was a great idea. And watching him flourish the way he did, having these banger matches with Brian Danielson, and then the whole storyline with Jericho and the BCC, and um, his character, everything that you when he's on the screen, you feel that that's the guy that he is. He looks serious. He might be the funniest guy in the world off stage, but looking at him, you just feel he's that guy. He's real. And his matches, all of his matches were awesome. His matches with Yuta were awesome. His matches with Danielson were awesome. His Moxley matches, just everything was on point. And just his facials, his character is, I love it. It reminds me of Theory in WWE, the way when he turned heel, and just that seriousness, that emotion that he's just radiating, that he is the baddest man on the planet. I love that about him. It just everything is perfect for him. The way they present it right now with his look, his music, his matches. He's super technical, but everything is just beautiful. Give it the chef's kiss. So he's my breakout star this year. He is much more improved this year compared to 21.
I'm thinking about it, and I mean, he's a great choice. What about Jamie Hayter? I'm like, I did not see the rise that she did, Greg. So I think I'm gonna give my Stevie Award to her. Will Yuta is high up there as well, and Daniel Garcia because of like where they were and who they are now. They're like Will Yuta's like right on that verge. He had some great moments, Greg, and I felt like yet again he's one of those start stop. Like, could he have been bigger than what he was?
Mm-hmm.
But Jamie Hayter, like, I mean, I thought she was nothing, honestly, and then
Me too.
she just kind of turned it on, and I mean, the crowd was getting behind her, I mean, you could also look at the acclaimed. I mean, look where they were, just not even a year ago, Greg, maybe less than a year ago, and now they're probably one of the top selling merch, I bet, and they're reasons for people to tune in. So, but I think Jamie Hayter's going to get my Stevie Award for breakout star just by a hair, um, by a grayish blonde, a white blackish hair of her dye job, Greg. So, but there was a lot of stars made, I think, this year,
Oh,
or
for sure.
on the verge, maybe not made yet, but like right there. And those like Daniel Garcia next year, Where Yuta, Ricky Starks. I mean, that was another name I kept going back to. I mean, we've always
Hmm.
known he's had it, but I think now he's really starting to break into his own. So it'll be interesting to see kind of what year he has next year. Next one, how about match of the year? Um, lot of matches there. That's my
Yeah.
brain is like I'm trying to think of where to even start with that one. So do you have any matches of the year, Greg, to throw out, and we can kind of go from there?
I had a couple. I singled a few out.
Okay.
Let's see. I had Mox versus Yuta. That
Yep.
was the breakout match for Yuta,
Hmm.
and that was the first match of the year that I watched it and I was blown away. I could not move. My eyes were glued to the screen. I wasn't on my phone. I wasn't multitasking. That made me sit still and watch it, and my jaw was on the floor the whole time watching it. It was just so good and beautiful and violent, and the story they told was remarkable. So that was definitely my match of the year. But I will also give or move to the tag team side.
Yeah.
And like I said, we're giving honorable mention to FTR versus them boys.
Hmm.
But I'm going to get the first match with Swerve and Our Glory versus the Acclaim because that
Okay.
did the same thing for the Acclaim that Mox versus Yuta did for Yuta.
Hmm.
That really blew up the Acclaim as far as going from being, just kind of the jokey joke, um, clowny kind of characters to being a real legit team, that could go and bring the house down. They had the perfect opponents with Swerve and Our Glory, who were way over.
Yeah.
And just that match, that was another one that by the end of that match, they went from booing the Acclaim to, oh, every time they had the missed the near fall, and they turned the crowd to their side in that match.
Hmm.
And again, one of the best tag team matches I've ever seen. So that match, the way it was perfect, and that put the Acclaim, on the top. Even though they lost that match,
Yeah.
uh,
Sometimes.
that match made them. And now, they had the trilogy. They got their shining moment, but that first match
Mhm.
was just beautiful.
Sometimes you get that you're made even more by a loss.
Yep.
Ask Action Andrade or Andretti, who's got the big win over Jericho, and now he's going to be interesting to see. So, anything else? Is that your? What about So I'm looking over some matches, Greg. I think I'm gonna, Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker, the steel cage match in Texas was a
Yep.
huge one.
Yep.
Trying to see what else. Um, I thought the Moxley and Tanahashi, just for all the
Hmm.
hype, I think that was a good one.
Sure.
What else? I obviously put a lot of thought into this, Greg, as you can tell as I'm looking over. Um,
Well, I put Blood and Guts in there and the what was it called?
Not
The
the
Anarchy in the Arena
Oh,
matches.
yeah. Did you? See, well, that was the one where they had the music playing in the background, right? Like a New Jack
Yeah.
homage. Um, yeah, that was all over the radar. I will give you that. It was kind of like the Stampede, the Stadium Stampede. I thought of years past, so I can give you that one. We are not going Kingston and Jericho barbed wire, whatever that was. That
About the
weird
dog collar match.
dog. Yeah, yeah. Was that MJF and Punk this year?
Punk. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give you that one. So, I mean, that's the thing. I feel like there's just so many um, to really, think about. And, Sammy Guevara had some good ones with Cody. We had the Sammy Guevara Cody Rhodes from Beach Break. That was really,
Yeah.
you
The
know,
ladder match.
yep. So there's definitely some good ones there, Greg. Yeah. So I think mine will be. I'm gonna give it to the women. I'm gonna give Thunder Rosa just for the win and the just overall feel of it. What was I probably think of more of the story into it, but the St. Patrick's Day slam and the celebration, and being in Texas and her getting to do that. Unfortunately, it ends with her having to vacate it, as the story was, Greg, with a lot of titles this year in AW. But
Yeah.
I will go with that one. So next up, how about this? OMG. What made us say OMG in a good way? And then we'll go to bad way because I'm sure there's a few that made us go a bad way. But um, I'm going to go first, Greg, because I'm going to give it to Orange Cassidy winning the All Atlantic title. I've been harping his name for a while, like 0-7 or 0-8 in title matches, Greg, and I was like, OMG, he needs to win the title, and then darn it, he does. And now, and it's just a fun time. It's a different title reign for him. Like he's carrying around the book bag, and he's calling out people in his own way, Greg, which is kind of
Right.
different. Nobody's really chasing. People ask to go against him, and he's just like, okay. And then they're kind of taken aback, which is awesome. Kind of a fun, a different way to take it. So I'm going to say my OMG good way, my oh my god, oh wow, that really happened type is Orange Cassidy winning the All Atlantic title, Greg, and carrying around in a book bag. Because how else do you carry a title now? Do you have
Yep.
your OMG good way moment?
Yeah. I've definitely got to go with the first time Punk and MJF cut that first promo,
Yep,
and I think it was about 7, 8 minutes, I believe.
yep.
But just it was the fire we expected and more. Um, I know I went back and I listened to it 2 or 3 more times because it was
Yeah.
just so good, and it's everything we thought we were gonna get, and then they give us more on top of it. So yeah, that got my ONG moment because we knew when those two got in the ring at the same time that it was about to go down, and it did.
Uh, OMG in the bad way. I mean, is there any doubt it's going to be all out brawl, Greg? I mean,
Hmm.
I just that really, unfortunately, just turned the corner in probably not the good way for AEW and just kind of redirected. We've had a couple other issues backstage. I think we had Kingston and Guevara, and then there was Guevara and Andrade. uh,
Yep.
there was Kingston and somebody, maybe that was last year, but Kingston had some other altercation. But I mean, you have to go. At least I have to go to just that the Punk downfall, the destruction of Punk, I guess, as you could call it. Just all. all the goodwill was there, Greg, just the past year, and then all of a sudden, what? I just don't know what turned for him. I mean, unless he just really settled in and was like, you know what? Now that I've gotten the goodwill out of the way, I'm just going to be myself, type deal. Like maybe he all put on a show for us there that first, year or so, Greg. But and still no conclusion to his story. But we're starting to wonder if it's going to be an epilogue maybe written after. Maybe we wrote his tombstone too quick, Greg, in AEW after certain events of the past couple weeks. So that is my bad OMG. What is your bad OMG?
Yep, mine's the same one. And I think that was the moment, you talk about turning points. That was, if you look at 2022 as a season, that was the moment that ruined the season, because it blew up everything that was in the works. And, for selfish reasons, it wasn't, injuries, it was egos. And all those egos come together. You got the EVPs, you got Punk, the biggest names in the company, and out of egos, everything gets blown up. You ruin the world title picture. You ruin multiple tag team title pictures. You ruin all these storylines that we could have had. You know, punking Omega down the road, absolutely, give me that. Um, him getting involved with all of the elite, absolutely, give me that. Um, and then the things he had working with the BCC, it was all working, and there was plenty of time to put these stories together and let it make money for you. And just out of egos, everything got blown to pieces, and everything's been a scramble to put, um, piecemeal characters into these spots and roll it out there. And that's the moment that ruined the season, as far as the continuity of the show, the storylines, the matchups that we could have gotten and we didn't get. And so, yeah, that was definitely the ONG in the worst way possible.
And it kind of made you wonder, well, what is the backstage really like? Because for all this, these past few years, Greg, it's been kumbaya, and we're all in this together. I mean, we had that. I thought they had the Kingston um, promo, maybe or a Kingston like locker room speech after like Brody Lee died.
Mhm.
Everybody was back there, and everybody was kind of feeling it and all that, and then it just like you said, I think the ego's probably gotten away. I mean, I part of me gives the Young Bucks and Omega credit. I mean, maybe not many people stand up to Punk. you know what I mean? Like, maybe they felt like he needed a taste of his own medicine at some point. So, but yeah, like you said, it definitely turned the tide, and the tide is still not. It's not back to shore yet. I think so. That's what.
No,
And
absolutely
this
not.
year is very important. This coming year, I think, because when is the next TV deals up, and network deals, and trying to maybe get ROH or network deals. So this next couple of years, this year, next year could really be important for them. So, next up, I think this one was interesting. Who jumped ship to WWE? Now we don't obviously know contracts and all that, Greg, but my first name is Wardlow. I think he needs a fresh start. Obviously, he's probably a great fit. He could go up against Braun. I mean, you could probably put him up against Roman, just size wise. Maybe him and
Hmm.
Omos just trying to, do that size thing. And then of course him with, Ricochet and guys like that, he probably worked well. So my first thing, I don't know what Wardlow's status is, Greg, but that's the guy I think that needs a fresh start. And there's definitely another name. I'll let you jump. I'll let you throw a name out, and then we'll go back and forth if we need to. But my first name was Wardlow. Do you have a name that jumps out to you?
Yeah, first name, and he's just came back recently, but I can definitely see him um, on the WWE banner is Brian Cage.
Mm, yeah.
'Cause he has that look of, you know, a Vince McMahon guy, but at the same time, he you can put him on the WWE roster and he would fit right in. And he's not gotten much opportunity, and I don't know where he's been all this time. If he's been injured or whatever, but he's just now coming back, and um, I don't know how much of a use they're going to have for him, but I think he would make tons of money on the WWE brand, and I think they would love to have him over there.
And of course, the guy that could probably work with anybody. He was on Lucha Underground, right? And
Yep.
worked with. Did he work with Rey Mysterio at some point there? I think possibly,
Uh,
but either way, he
yeah.
he kind of worked with a lot of luchador talent that I think he'd be interested in working
Yeah.
with. And I feel like there's always been the interest there from WWE. But and then the other name, Greg, Hangman. I know he's one of the originals, and it's probably more of a selfish thing on my end, Greg. But I would love to see him riding on a horse down WrestleMania walkway and getting a big WrestleMania entrance. But I think at the same time, I think he also needs a change of pace, you know, and kind of see what he could do elsewhere. So that's another name, Hangman Adam Page. And you wonder, Greg, if maybe this Moxley stuff maybe leads to some loser leaves. Loser leave. It feels like it needs that. Like it needs some sort of end goal to it. But I kind of
Mhm.
wonder if it's going to be Hangman Adam Page showing up in WWE at some point, Greg.
That would be great. I would love to see him in WWE. 'Cause, again, he looks the part too.
Yeah.
Young guy that WWE needs more young studs.
Mhm.
Um, Literally, guy 25 years old and his best years ahead of him.
Yeah.
And there is a serious dearth of um, or absence of guys in WWE who are on that younger side that they need to push into the future.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm totally with that. I would love to see it. Um, and you were right with Brian Cage. He didn't do much work with Phoenix or with
Ray,
Mysterio, but he did
sorry.
do a lot of work with Ray
Phoenix.
Phoenix.
That's okay.
So
That's what I was thinking. Sorry.
yeah, so shout out to Tubi, hooking boys
Get
up
us our deal this year,
for New
Tubi.
Year.
That's our prediction. We are going to get a deal with Tubi.
There you
Gonna make
go.
it happen, Dan.
Um,
Okay, we'll get our owner and see if he can help us get this Tubi deal. Who's your other name? Do you have another name? I was trying to think of women, so I'm kind of racking my brain while you're going to talk, Greg, and see if we have any women that probably should make the jump. But did you have another name that you wanted to throw out there to jump the shark?
well, I mean, maybe not next year, but I can see it 2 years from now. Jade Cargill,
Yeah,
I think she would fit in perfectly
yeah,
next to Charlotte Flair, next to um, Becky, next to Rhea Ripley. Just all the matches
Bianca.
that they get put together. Absolutely. Bianca, absolutely. Imagine that match and the promos those two would cut on each other. Oh my goodness. Um,
That's a, that's
not
a,
that
that's an interesting name. I hadn't thought about her, but you got to wonder if she's gonna. She likes money, Greg, and there's a lot of money on the other side.
exactly. And
Uh, is there another woman? Because I can't. I was trying to think. I mean, I feel like the women there just kind of need the time there. You know what? Like, Jamie Hayter's going to stick around. Brett Baker's going to stick around. Soraya just started there. I mean, can you get Thunder Rosa? I mean, if you're going to lose Sasha, I almost think, well, if we can get some Thunder Rosa on WWE, Greg, I'd be willing to bite the bullet on that.
that's true. Can
But I
Triple
don't.
H orchestrate a trade?
Yeah, I just don't know. Well, I don't know, and who knows what her status even is. I mean, if she had to drop the title legitimately, you wonder like what kind of contract does she have left there? What else? We got Penelope Ford, who's with Kip Sabian, so you got to think they're sticking around. I'm trying to think. The Bunny is obviously, I think she's pretty set there.
Hmm.
Rio, Sheeta. I mean, I feel like they're going to be set there just because of the New Japan stuff. I guess there's really, yeah. Julia
Yeah,
Hart. Did they try to sneak her away from House of Black? Did they try to get all the House of Black characters, Greg?
I
I
think
mean,
she's that's
Buddy
where
and
she is because
Alistair already have, or Malachi already have some pull there, and I'm surprised Buddy Matthews, with the Rhea Ripley relationship,
yeah,
Greg hasn't. Like, I was surprised to see him back on TV with House of Black, but um, I'm trying to think of some women that aren't, being featured as much, but it's pretty hard to. Yeah, so maybe women wise, I mean, like I said, I think Thunder Rosa would be the big one. Like I'd be, you know, well, you might as well write Sasha off. It sounds like January 1st, Greg, her deal's done, and she is off to wherever. So, which could play a part into our bold predictions for next year. But which I think there we go. Wow, what a segue there, Greg. Bold predictions. Let's start throwing them out there. What is a first bold prediction you have for the new year of AEW? Then we'll get into our best of and our superstars of the year, Greg.
first bold prediction: Punk returns to AEW.
Yeah, I, I'm starting to think that's a bold one, but now it's starting to feel like not so bold, right? I mean, where do
Right,
you
a month
do you
ago it was
foresee it
more bold.
anywhere? Do you think Revolution? Do you think maybe wait till Double or Nothing till he's fully healed up, he's fully mentally back, and
Yeah, and that's it. Yeah, not the first pay per view of the year, maybe the second one.
yeah,
Is that usually all in,
Double
or
or Nothing.
double or
Double because
nothing?
it'd be
Okay, so
Revolution in March, Double or Nothing in May, then All Out September or September ish. Then they have Full Gear.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, if it's in March,
maybe
then
leading up to Double or Nothing, like maybe right after Revolution.
yeah, the way you have time to set up a match. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, and then we've, like I said, we put plenty of distance between All Out and
yeah,
um, you know the return, and then you have weeks to flesh out the promos and get everybody hyped for it and bring the whole thing full circle. So um, yeah, but
Do you think you'd have to bring
the
him back at Chicago to get the crowd back on it? Well, probably. I guess we'd almost not to do Chicago because we'd have, like that's the thing. I'd be curious. What do you think the reaction would be to him, Greg?
Chicago would go nuts.
Yes. Yeah. That's
Um,
so we almost can't bring him back at Chicago because I feel like that would just be um, we don't know what the true reaction is. I feel like you need to do like Austin, Texas, or Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, Atlanta, Georgia. Some sort of maybe a bigger city, Greg, Tampa, Florida, or something like that. Because I don't, I like you said, has enough time passed for the
mhm,
crowd to be back on his side. People, we do have goldfish memories. I'll admit that, Greg. Because even when I was thinking about match of the year, I'm like, oh, I don't remember many matches this year. So I was trying to get my research department in line for that. But I'd be very curious to see what his reaction was as far as coming back and almost not doing it in Chicago because, like we said, Chicago was a very weird. Didn't they boo Moxley? I think against him.
they did.
Yeah.
Yep,
So and Moxley never gets booed anywhere. Moxley
exactly.
could
But I
probably
think
be on the.
you got to start it with him against Kenny,
Yeah.
the two
Let
power players, the
just let
biggest.
them hash it out.
Right.
Legit outside, I would be curious to see how far would they let them go too. Like um, promo wise. I think they
Hmm.
both be professional in the ring. I don't see any. I think they already got the real punches out of the way, Greg. But I would
I
be
know, but there
curious
would
to
be a
see.
whole lot of tea spilt, though. I
That's
mean,
well, and that is the thing. How far. Where would they go with that? So. Um, My bold prediction is Soraya will win the women's title, which is probably not that bold as well, but I think she's going to get that AEW women's title in the next year, and
I agree. That's one of mine too.
probably off Jamie Hayter. Well, and I almost think it'll be due to Britt though, because I think we are going to see the Britt Baker Jamie Hayter breakup happening probably sooner rather than later. But I see Soraya kind of in the middle of that. So Soraya will be our
Sure.
world champion for the women's side. I mean, it could be as soon as Revolution, honestly. I just think I don't think you sign her if you're not going to make her a champion, sooner rather than later, Greg. So that's my bold prediction on that side of things. Do you got another one you want to throw out there?
Um, of course, they're going to put Mercedes as all elite.
Yeah, that was my next. I think even if it's not a long term, I think she's going to show up on TV there. I mean, how can you not show her up on TV?
Exactly. And for the new viewers, Mercedes, aka Sasha Banks,
Yep.
is all elite. It and talk about getting like a bigger pop than maybe even Soraya coming back. You know, Sasha, yeah, absolutely. So, and then you're spun the whole. You really thrown the women's division to the forefront with her there. So, no, I think that's definitely going to happen sometime this year, or in the new year.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I guess can we throw what? I didn't know how to approach Mandy Rose. Does she end up on there, Greg?
Uh,
I don't think she does,
I'm not
honestly.
feeling it yet.
I,
No,
I
yeah,
think Impact is more of the, and I hate it because she's done so well. Or I think they're going to come to some sort of agreement. I really do. I the fact that there's been nothing official yet. We haven't seen WWE wishes. The best. Even if they just put the small. We have released Mandy or Amanda, whatever her name is. Blah blah blah. Don't even say best wishes. Like we haven't seen that, Greg. But everyone's running
mm,
that. She's gone, and you know, I, she's too good to let go, right? I mean, you
well,
have
I
all you
mean,
have all this moment, you have all this publicity about it. I mean,
true. I mean, she's gotten so much better since she went back down to NXT after
yeah,
her main roster run, and um, on the main roster, everything went downhill after the Otis angle.
yeah,
She had the thing with Sonya, and got crickets for that, and
yeah,
then she, you know, dyed her hair dark, went down to NXT, and became a baller. She became a boss, and the difference was night and day. I don't know what that's been the whole time, but
yeah.
she made you believe. She made you,
Sometimes you
feel
just
that
need
heel
that change.
energy.
I mean, look at Bailey. She cut her hair, Greg, and look, she takes off. So that's the key is
That's
to
true.
change your hair. No, but I I think we see her impact before we see her at AEW.
I can agree with that. I mean, she could be the big fish in a small pond out there, and you know, find herself again before she tries to go back to a bigger company. So,
So,
yeah, I don't feel her in AEW yet.
especially if you're going to
You know,
sign, if you're going to get Sasha Banks on there. I mean, that would you'd have to wait a little bit. you know. So, my other big bold prediction is Ricky Starks will win a title this coming year. Um, Probably TNT. I really think they're high on him, and I think he's shown Greg in the past few weeks.
hmm
He, I know the early days of Rock comparisons are probably too easy, but there's something there. There really is that little bit of charisma that The Rock had in his beginning days, and you just like that promo. Right before Winter's Coming, Greg. I think really sold me on him. I think he was
okay,
really that was shooting from the hip. I don't. I think there was a lot of truth in what he was saying. So I think Ricky Starks. You know, I think the All Atlantic title, like we said, has that ship kind of sailed on that already. With Orange Cassidy getting it now, but I think the TNT title for him, and then maybe 2024, if you get MJF going, Greg, Ricky Starks is only what 27 at the time, maybe 26. Why
yeah.
not put your eggs in that basket for 2024? But I think Ricky Starks winning a title is my bold prediction for the new year. Do you have any other ones?
Yeah, I think we're gonna have that TV title moving around a lot because I got hooked winning the TV title this year.
TV or
Um,
TNT?
the TBS
Oh,
or
TNT.
TNT title,
Okay,
whichever.
okay, okay. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean that one. I and Hook is another one. Like start and stop, start and stop. I feel like great. You had that stuff with Action Bronson, and then it feels like you're just on Rampage every once in a while. So I think I can get behind that prediction.
yeah. I think he blows up next year as far as being a full-time wrestler, not just a once a
Attraction,
month.
a
Yeah,
small attraction,
attraction. Exactly.
not
And
even a
they're
big.
starting it with putting him in the this angle with Jungle Boy
Yes, that's true.
uh, against Sanjay and his crew. So
Yes, I think
um,
that's big. A
yeah,
tag
so
team we
I'm
didn't know
liking
we
that.
wanted, right?
I know. I mean,
And
that's
it
the
could probably
last
help
person I would
Jungle
expect.
Boy, continue his ascension.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's probably my next one, Greg. Jungle Boy, I think even has a bigger year than this past year. Now I don't know what maybe I like you said, does that TNT title kind of get passed around? Maybe because I feel like Jungle Boy is another name that probably should be up getting that title and kind of seeing what he can do with it. So I think Jungle Boy is going to have a big year, even a bigger year than this past year for him, and maybe kind of break out of the Jungle Boy, maybe be more Jack Perry type, and kind of let the Jungle Boy start to slowly ooze away, and then just be himself or whatever
Hmm.
incarnation he could be of himself. Greg. So that's
Yeah,
another bold prediction I got.
yeah, I agree. He needs to, you know, he's evolved
Yeah,
or has been evolving and getting
literally,
better. Right.
he's the Luchasaurus.
Yep. He's shed his dinosaur and now is, evolving from Cro-Magnon
He's gonna
man
be a
to
man.
exactly. Um, but he's one of the pillars. He needs to break out, and he's had a slow ascent,
Yeah.
and he needs to, keep climbing and you know shift things up. Change the character. I've never liked Jungle Boy, the name anyway. I don't get it. Um, but if we can, shed that skin and give him a new moniker, give him a little kind of a new look. Those promos he cut at the end of the Luchasaurus feud were really, really good. Let him talk like that more. Let him show some fire, not just be, shiny, happy all the time. Because that came off real. That felt real, and let him do more of that, and you know, switch up the gimmick a little bit, and he'll keep climbing.
Any other predictions you got there, Greg?
Let's see. Checking my handy dandy notebook. Nope, those are the ones I got right now.
Good. Yeah. We haven't done our commercial breaks yet, so let's get that. We can digest everything that's been said, and then we can get right into our best of our wrestlers of the year. And so we'll get you some Rogue Energy talk, some Elite Performance talk, and a little quick realty talk. And we'll get these all going for you. Give ourselves a second to digest everything as well, Greg. And then we'll be right back in about a minute or so.
What is up, everybody? It's your boy Dan over at BWSports1.com and Black and White Sports. And I'm wondering if you're ready to buy or sell that home, now's the time, and I got just the person for you. Mr. Sean Nugent, a.k.a. Rockstar Realtor himself. 317-503-8322. Put that home on the market. Get into your dream home with this man. Talk to Sean at Talk to Tucker today, 317-503-8322, and make sure you tell him the boys over at BWSports1.com sent you.
All right, Greg, let's get right into it. Don't Let Me Down, the tag team of the year, because like we said, I think AEW has shown us what tag team wrestling in the ring can all be about. And I mean, they're still probably heads above WWE in that regard. I mean, I think WWE is getting there, but there's still momentum all on AEW's side. Just with the Young Bucks, the Acclaimed, FTR when they're able to show up on TV. You had Swerve in Our Glory, Greg, who kind of came on. Private Party is still there whenever they get a chance. They might be the Acclaimed of next year, Greg. We might finally see Private Party get a lot of that momentum back. And we don't even know House of Black. Did they get trio styles? Do you have Brody King and Buddy Matthews get something? Tag teams are very high on AEW. So, Greg, who is your tag team of the year?
I got to go with the Acclaim. They've had a good full year on run. And that, like I said, that first match they had against Swerve in Our Glory did it for them. That was close to the beginning of the year. And they've just built on that and built on that. And, they've gotten mega over compared to a year ago. And, the scissoring thing is the hottest thing going in the company as far as, the gimmick, and everybody loves it. I did not expect to see them explode the way they did. They just seem like another, gimmick tag team with, doing the Dr. Thugonomics, routine. But, they worked hard, they grinded, and they went through, the little feuds to work up to the big one. And, once they got that ball, they kept running. And now they're, the champs, they're the top team. And they're laying down some classic matches. The Swerve in Our Glory matches were great. The whole, it's been a trilogy of them so far. Their match against FTR was excellent. And they've got a lot of room to grow because, you got more teams they haven't faced yet, like the Lucha Bros, like the Bucks, hopefully, like my guys, Dim Boys, I'd love to put them in tag team of the year, but nobody's seen their matches unless you were watching the pay-per-views. So, this year I got to give it to the Acclaim. They've really killed it, and they've done it all year instead of being here 1 minute and gone the next, like a lot of teams.
Man, I got to go FTR. I mean, the fact that they can still have the crowd in their, on their side, Greg, even with for whatever reason, not on shows and, coming back at random times and holding 3 different tag team titles, finally losing one, which a lot of people are predicting, Greg, that might be the start of their return to WWE, just losing that first batch of titles. But, I mean, the Acclaim, it's so close with them. I mean, that's another one that could probably, we put in breakout stars, the Acclaim. So, I think I got to go FTR, though. I just think too many, like you said, and then recency bias with, I mean, that freaking match with double dog collar and all the, just all the times they put their body on the line, Greg. And then, to think like Dax putting on quality singles matches, which is so funny, I know, for a tag team, but showing his, Swiss Army knife ability. So I got to go FTR, but I don't hate the Acclaim winning it and getting all the acclaim for what they've done. Because, like we said, 5 or 6 months ago, Greg, they were kind of in Private Party territory. Where we like, oh, they're probably something, but so maybe there is hope, for Private Party. And finally, you are the best around. No one's ever going to break you down. Since we can't play, music on this show, Greg, thanks to, copyright, I will just do my best to sing the best around from Karate Kid as I can. But who's your female superstar of the year?
It was a hard choice just because, once these women get a start and then they disappear for a month, 2 months, 3 months.
Yep.
I would have loved to give it to Thunder Rosa, but she's been gone almost
Yep.
3 months now. Britt Baker, she's probably my favorite female in the company, but she's only had a couple matches, seems like this year,
Yeah.
or at least memorable matches. So you can't give it to her, and she's been, off screen or doing cheerleader support for Jamie Hayter lately, so couldn't give it to her.
Is it
I
Jamie?
called Soraya coming back, and she's had one match. Can't give it to her. Jamie, I still don't get it. I don't know where. I need to see a synopsis of her year to see where her turning point was and where people, got on the boat with Jamie Hayter, because I missed it. And I've watched everything all year, and I don't see where it happened, but it did. And props to her.
Just been like
But
a groundswell. I think that's what it really is.
it is.
Just like
I mean,
under the, like under the waves, and it just slowly built. But
exactly. The cult following, got into the mainstream somehow, and now she's super over. But I had to give my award to Jade Cargill because she's been consistent. She has been there every week. She's had at least 20 or so title defenses, not against the greatest talent, of course, but she's been there. She's been cutting the promos. She's been working on her craft. She's been getting much better. Think of that first match she had with Shaquille O'Neal versus what she's doing now. And she's made a world of improvement. The angle with her and Nyla and stealing the title was very entertaining. I love her backstage promos, and the weirdness with the baddie section. She's doing her thing, and she looks like $1,000,000, and she's getting better every week.
Hopefully this powwow stuff doesn't bring her down, Greg.
Yeah.
I'm worried about this, whatever this is.
Yeah, I did not want to see that.
Unless they're trying to get her in the intergender stuff to show that she can hang with anybody. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but Bow Wow is probably like 5'2".
That's true.
I don't know what that would prove, but we'll have to look up his actual size. But standing next to her, he is puny.
He's not little anymore. At least he just Bow Wow.
So, yeah, I'm a little cringy looking at that angle, but I got to give it to Jade. She's been here all year. She's been killing it. And like I said, she's only going to step up. She's going to face better competition as her win streak number goes up. And, I think there's some bangers on the horizon with Britt and the girls who are at the top of the card. So I got to give it to Jade this year.
I think that, like you said, her year next year should be something to watch. Does she finally get that women's title? And kind of make her, really make her imprint on the women's division. I guess I'm going to go Jamie. I mean, I don't really care for her, Greg, but like we said, this groundswell of support. I mean, she just goes out and she's pretty consistent too. If I don't, there's not much bad with her. I mean, I guess there was a little stuff with her and Thunder Rosa people were bringing up, or was it her and Marina? I mean, there was some little issue about selling, but I think she's just the fact that she's kind of turned that corner, and she might be even bigger next year because of the breakup with Britt, which is crazy to think.
I agree with that.
But I'm going to give her, but once again, no arguments on Jade. If I could probably put Jade 1A or 1B to Jamie Hayter. And like I said, I just hope that this stuff with Bow Wow, unless this is bringing in Sasha, maybe this is a way for him to bring her in as his something. But I was also wondering about the Soraya mystery tag team. Is that a way to bring in, Mercedes Greg as a mystery? Because that's
right?
feeling like
Since they had that history.
that's feeling like Taylor made to do that. But um, like I said, for Jade's sake, hopefully this Bow Wow stuff doesn't get her down a level, because she should be hitting 50-0 pretty soon, and that should be a big deal, um, because she's going to make it a big deal. So now the big one, male superstar of the year, because Moxley's name is all over it. Greg, did we? I think we gave it to Moxley last year, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
So is he a two-time winner in your book?
No.
Oh, okay.
And I had to think about it, and he was the easy choice,
Now,
and
curious if it will be the other name I'm thinking, though.
he's definitely the workhorse. I mean, the guy, like we said, he's was supposed to get a little vacation after he dropped the title to Punk, and
Yep.
then all the crap happened, and so he has to go pick up the mantle and wear the title for the summer, and um, cancels plans, but shows he's a team player, shows he's um, just willing to do the thing and
Yes.
you know make things happen, and that's what he did. Um, the reason I didn't give it to him was there was a lot of filler in his reign, especially over the summer,
Yeah.
with going against the Japan guys and going against some of the smaller talent. Um, in just 5 or so, you want to see him in there with different faces and not the same old guys.
Yeah.
The way WWE likes to rehash a
Yeah.
reign with the
That's true.
same guy over
Yeah.
and over and over. So I get it, and I appreciate them doing that. Um, but as far as taking quality over quantity, I'm giving my award this year to Brian Danielson.
Mm. Yeah, that was the
So,
name I was going in my head, actually.
so you look at he started the year with a couple epic matches against Heyman Page, including the 60-minute draw,
Yep.
um, which were both his matches with Heyman were epic. And then um, you had him with the uh, the match he got against Moxley. BCC didn't begin until he had the match with Mox,
Mhm.
and we're not gonna be a team together until we bleed together. That epic tagline,
Yep.
and he had a banger of a match with Mox. Um, and then there's the whole angle with Garcia, and would bring him in, and Garcia going over,
Mhm.
and
Yep.
beautiful technical, um, beautifully violent matches, and everything he's done has been crisp and clean and brutal, and sometimes it's too brutal because he ends up injuring himself.
Yep.
But every match I've seen him in have been just violent art. Um, and then it's rivalry with Jericho and the whole JAS, just that quality is there all the way through um, in his work. And even though he has missed a little bit of time with his injury, now he's coming back in the aftermath of the William Regal saga, and there's going to be more that happens with him and the BCC. Maybe he splits off from the BCC, maybe gets into a rivalry with the BCC, but there's all that waiting for him, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen with him because everything he's done, it's been money, and so I got to give him my male wrestler of the year.
And no, no real argument for me, but I'll go MJF, Greg. You got to think he was always on the tip of our tongues. We couldn't keep him out of our mouths, as Will Smith would say. Hopefully he won't slap us for that. But
Yeah, but him
and,
being gone for so long is what ruined it for me.
I
If
mean
he had
that
been
that's
here
true.
all year,
Yeah,
he wins the title, cuts the his pipe bomb promo, and then he's gone for 3 months, and that ruined all the steam that he had built up. And if it worked into the story, and I'm thinking of an old TNA angle that AJ Styles had with Dixie Carter, and they did the same contract dispute
Yeah.
storyline, and they spilled all the tea on TV and let it play out, and it worked itself out that way. If they had done something similar, not the same, but in that vein, and just worked it out that way, it would have been better. But just having him lay this beautiful pipe bomb that CM Punk would have been proud of, and then just we don't see him again for a quarter of the year.
That's true.
That's my beef with. That's why I couldn't give him the award, because
And who knows if it was legit backstage, maybe, I mean, they could have been that far off from each other, Greg. And maybe that's why you don't bring it up on TV. So,
Mhm.
but I mean, like you said, the fact I mean, he turned it on this year. I mean, I thought he really did. And, we've always known he could do it and he was poised to do it, but now he did it. And, the William Regal stuff, I mean, that was, beautifully violent. I mean, to knock out William Regal. And then, like people said, you can bring that back in WWE, because if you have William Regal back on TV in 2024 and you
That's
can
true.
bring MJF in, at night after WrestleMania or something like that. I mean, just think you can recreate, this whole new side of it.
Yeah.
So, um, but I mean, it's hard for me not to argue Moxley too, because like you said, who's the freaking, I mean, well, I guess you got Bryan Danielson too. Moxley is just there all the time, even when he probably shouldn't be. Like we
Right.
joked, like give him, he's gotten enough flowers, Greg. He could probably have a flower bed. He has a garden in his backyard now. We've given him all the flowers. He deserves to lay in it and take a break.
There you go.
And him and Renee, go enjoy the Cincinnati the Cincinnati's winter, I guess, or something like that. I can't see them. I can't see Moxley being much of a beach guy, Greg. But maybe some hiking in mountains or something like that. Maybe they go back to Vegas and go revisit, some of their old stomping grounds. But yeah, Moxley's deserved. If he's off TV for whatever time like that, it's not, it's not going to bother me. You know what I mean? Like, he's earned it. So I still got to go MGF by a hair, I think, over Brian Danielson. But there's no doubt. I mean, I brought up, the Dax Harwood and Brian Danielson match. I mean,
Yep. Right.
Brian was there, like I said, Greg, I think at times he needs to be a little more selfish for himself. But then again, I think that's just who he is. And you can't necessarily change him. So, but, this coming year, I think, will be very interesting to see for AEW. Can they get that momentum back and really set their own course? Because like right now, I do think it's a little bit like WWE pre Triple H, where it's just an overloaded roster. We're seeing the same guys on TV and the same matchups, for weeks on end, and we're just not seeing anything really carry on. It just kind of it's just stuck in neutral. It feels like.
Yeah.
Not to, I'm using a lot of cliches, I know, but it really does feel like there's just not this usual kind of spark to it as it was. So I think 2023 is going to be a big year, Greg, because if let's say TV deals are up in 2024, does TNT think, oh, we'll just put them on, TBS instead or something like that, where it's not as big as TNT. So, any last thoughts, Greg, on the year that was for AEW?
Oh, great year for AEW as far as from a talent standpoint, from the pure volume of excellent matches we saw. I thought the match quality on AEW still surpassed what we saw on WWE, when you consider a bulk of the really great stuff is happening in the Bloodline storyline, and they're not sharing the wealth with everybody else. AEW, there's much love given across the board. and we're really seeing these guys break out and have these shining moments, like the Acclaim and Swerve and Glory, like the FTR matches. These guys that we didn't know or didn't care about uh, a year ago, and now we're all about him. Like me and Daniel Garcia,
Yep.
could care less what he was doing in
Will
2021, but this year, all on the bus. Wheeler Yuta,
I mean, even
and
Jungle Boy
now,
for that matter, right? I mean, Jungle
yeah,
Boy was just an afterthought. We
yeah,
forget he was tag team champion. Like that was the
yeah,
thing.
exactly. And now we're going to want to see what Action Andretti is going to do, because um, that match he had it with Jericho was great, and you did not expect that. But I know when Jericho was backstage, putting him over or just calling him a jobber, I'm going to get my little tune-up match in. You knew something was up, but getting the match, that was something you didn't expect. But um, kid's got something, so I want to see what he's going to do next year. Maybe he's our breakout guy. Um, and so just like pure volume, great matches. Props to them being able to um, stop on a dime and reshuffle the deck when things go bad. They've done a better job than I thought they could with the all out fallout.
Yeah.
So props to everybody involved for that. And decided to see where everything's going to go next year, because now all those principal characters that blew the scene up this year, you can put them back in as needed, where needed.
Yeah.
And now you have the guys that came up in their place, and now they're bigger stars. They're claimed they're bigger stars where the Young Bucks would have been in their spot.
Yeah.
Guys like Garcia and uh, Joe, uh, Wardlow, Hobbs. Hobbs has been doing some excellent stuff right now.
That's
I'm
another
enjoying the
name to
little.
watch for next year, I think.
Yep, yep.
Does he finally make that next show?
Yeah, those guys probably filled the hole left by Kenny, and so these guys that would have been thrown into the spotlight, maybe before they were ready.
Mhm.
Now they're a lot bigger, and they're going to be put in better spots, and it's going to make the whole show better, because you're building stars. You're doing what everybody should be doing, building your stars, and just creating a galaxy of stars, for your brand. So excited to see what they're going to do next year.
And it's funny you bring up Jericho. I forgot this is going to be a bold prediction, Craig. I think it's his last full year, really, full time wrestling. I think we're going to see him slowly, kind of ease out. And now he's obviously there for the next few years, Greg. But he's another name that you wonder backstage wise if he'll be a bigger voice to kind of get the ship right. So, but I do think we're seeing the tail end of it. Obviously, it's been the tail of his career for a little bit, Greg. But and then who's to say in 2025, 2024 shows back up as a Hall of Fame candidate for WWE. So maybe next year we're talking up showing back up on WWE TV, because obviously that's coming. Hall of Fame induction. So
Sure.
yeah. All right. Well, that is all we got. Thanks for joining us, and we'll have the date set here soon for our WWE recap, Greg. Which, of course, there's just one little big storyline that we could talk about, for WWE that I think is going to be interesting to see where we position that. I think it's going to be an OMG either way, but that's just a small spoiler for you there. And I know we didn't get into the Mandy Rose stuff. How about we just? I see where they're coming from, Greg. People are saying, "Well, back in the day, all that Playboy stuff was brokered by WWE." You think China went out and said, "Hey, Playboy, I want to pose for you"? You think Sable did? I mean, it's just a different era, And
Yeah.
I get, like if especially if you're making it a little more risky, like Scarlett took down her OnlyFans, Greg. I mean, that tells, and she wasn't even. Hers was mostly just swimsuit stuff, like very or lingerie stuff. So if you're straight up nude in a pool like swimming, Greg, I mean, I can't really blame WWE being like, okay, like maybe
Yeah.
maybe not firing her, but at least talking to her and be like, hey, you know, I get it, you're doing your third party stuff, but you also got to think, we're we're a publicly traded company, and PG and all this. So I know people are going to hate it that I'm probably on WWE's side, but and you signed a contract. I mean,
Right.
who's this? That contract probably doesn't state the. I think the third party stuff they could still do. Like I know Xavier Woods has the gaming channel and all that, but I don't think it says hey, you could be topless in a pool like that. That just doesn't seem like something that Triple H or Stephanie McMahon. I know a lot of people are harping on her, Greg, like she needs to stand up for Mandy Rose, but at the same time, she's the head of the company, Greg. Like she
Hmm.
can't really stand on her side, I think, on this case.
Yeah,
Did you have any
it's
like
too
kind of?
bad a precedent to set because if they let Mandy do it, then
Then they could have.
say everybody else is going to do it and
Then
go,
you get
well, you let
Scarlett
her off.
saying, "I want back on OnlyFans," and I mean, Paige with hers was definitely more risky, Greg, than anything I've seen of the other than some Playboy stuff. But yeah, who's to say? Our Selena Vega. I mean, you don't think she wants to? You don't think she'd like to get her
Yeah,
face and name out there as getting on a little extracurricular stuff? So yeah. But like we said, we haven't seen the official WWE release, which makes me wonder if they are trying to, figure out some way to make it work, or to come to an agreement. Either you're going to release her, or hey, you got to tone this down. Like, get it back to risky lingerie is fine, because let's face it, that's what people do. But um, yeah, so like I said, I know it probably sounds bad to be on the WWE side of this case, Greg, but I almost am. Which side do you think you're more leaning on?
yeah, but I agree with you actually that these aren't new rules. They've been there for a long time, and going back to when I listened to the New Day podcast when they were doing theirs, uh, they haven't been doing it for a while, but they talked about how they didn't like that they couldn't do Twitch anymore. They couldn't
Yeah.
do, Cameo was a thing that they could make money with on the side, where they just pop in and get paid to wish your cousin
Yeah.
Jimmy a
Oh yeah.
happy birthday. They were making a lot of money doing that, but they brought out the edict. None of these little side hustles because XYZ. It's been known for a long time. It's out there. And so if you decide to go against it, then that's on you, but you're going to have to suffer the consequences. And that's what happened to her. So um, maybe she thought she was above that or whatever, but you know, I get WWE's side of this and the size of the stars that they have, their name recognition, their brand recognition. Letting one do it is going to open the floodgates for everybody doing it. So I totally get it, and she's a good example to set as opposed to if Becky Lynch had done it and they had to do this to Becky Lynch. So this just sets the example for everybody moving forward that we told you we couldn't do this. You see the example, and now you still did it. So whoever does it next, you can't say it hasn't been out there.
And we do
So
have to wonder, if somebody like Becky Lynch, like, do they just do it behind the scenes and not fire her? Because let's face it, just like in NBA, Greg, Michael Jordan was held to a different set of rules than Tony Kukoc, which of course got him mad. But anyways,
true, but
yeah,
there's still
you know what I mean?
receipts to pull if you do that,
Yeah,
though.
yeah. And
Mandy Rose can go pull receipts, and you fired me for this, but you didn't fire her for that.
exactly,
So
yeah. Or who's to say they haven't talked? Like we don't know what we don't always know the backstage. Who's to say they hadn't already, given her the talk? Like, hey, make sure this is
sure,
within the limits. Because it sounds like they are, obviously cameos are okay with. I wonder they'll probably get a percent of the cameos now, because you've seen like, oh, Liv Morgan will come out every once in a while, be like, hey, my cameos are open for this amount of time, or
Mhm.
Roman Reigns, and so if WWE, because that's the thing too, you got to think they made money off the Playboy stuff. I can't imagine them giving all the check to China, to Sable,
Right.
to Marie, or not Maria, whoever.
Maurice?
Maurice, no, not Maurice. I can't think.
No, she
Anyways,
wasn't.
Tori Wilson, because there was
Yeah,
Tori
I
and
think Tori
Sable at one
Wilson was
point.
one.
Anyways, those women, um, and just be like, oh yeah, here's your full, payment. You don't. I mean, I'm sure heck, Vince
Yeah,
gonna
they
use some of
took
that
agent
money.
fees.
So, they can ask Mandy, hey, we're going to take a cut of this. You can keep it, and use it the right way. But like we said, until anything official is said, though, I'm still considered a part of the roster. I mean, she might be my female superstar of the year. You never know. So until otherwise. So that's all I got today. Who do your Chargers got today, Greg?
We got Tennessee, and Tennessee is,
Are they
aside from
favored?
Derrick Henry, everybody's injured.
Tannehill's out.
Well, Tannehill's playing. Their number one receiver, Burks, he's injured.
Okay.
I saw a laundry list of offensive linemen and defensive players. I think 3 cornerbacks and a safety. So I think we're getting a skeleton crew of Titans players. But that might be a more dangerous thing because all these people who are getting thrown into the mix, going, this is my time to shine, and play above their heads. It could be a trap game, but we need to win out so we can guarantee getting into the playoffs. Right now, we're in the 7th spot, and we got a very winnable set of games to finish the season. Starting with this one, we got your Colts coming up, and then we got the Broncos to end the season. So, we got to get these dubs and get Justin Herbert into the show. But
Is the Colts
this
next week?
this week after Christmas,
Oh, week after Christmas. Okay.
or the day after Christmas, whatever's happening after Christmas, the next game after Christmas. So I think Christmas is on a
Sunday.
Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's the Christmas night game. I think we're on prime time.
Okay. I was gonna see the schedule really quick. Okay, so we had what's next? Why doesn't it have next week? Week of Christmas.
So I know it's Christmas.
Yeah.
So it's either Monday night or Sunday night.
It's the Monday night. Okay, you're here in town. It's LA at Indianapolis on Monday, December 26th. Oh,
There we
we
go.
actually
That night
we
after
had
Christmas.
2 Monday night games. Wow. They might. Did they ever flex the Monday night games, Greg? Because they might shove us out of there. I was trying to see if there's any juicy Sunday or Saturday. Oh, because Saturday next week is the whole slate, and then there's 3 games on Christmas Day, and then Monday night. Okay, so most of the games are on Christmas Eve next week. But I would be curious. Who knows? They might. I wonder if they might flex. I don't know if Monday night's ever been flexed out, Greg, but hey.
Yeah, I don't
Maybe
think
we'll
they
go
would.
up 34-0 and lose that lead, and then we'll even be more historic. We'll have the top 2 historic losses in NFL history, Greg. All right, so next week is the Colts and Chargers. So I am not putting any wager because I don't have
I
any
understand.
faith. I don't have any faith. You already got one shirt out of me. You're good.
Yeah, I totally get it. I was like, this would be another short game, but after seeing how your season's
We'll
unfolded,
how
I
the
totally
Suns
get
and
it.
Pacers go in we'll take theirs. So if they both make the playoffs. All right. Well, enjoy the slate of games today, and enjoy Christmas week. Of course, we'll come back live, obviously, in about a week or so, week from Friday, to kind of give our WWE thoughts and predictions for that, because I think it should be an interesting year for WWE as well, Greg, when you consider what Royal Rumble season could be with Triple H in control, what WrestleMania could look like. I think it'll be interesting to talk that up with all that's going on there. So, thank you for watching. Enjoy enjoy the rest of the day and talk to you guys a week from Friday or